Hey, welcome to GCounsel, man. We got a great one for you today. I got my guy Fred Majors here, man. He gonna really help us dig deep into LinkedIn and how networking on LinkedIn can definitely help you, develop your career. So, this guy's awesome. I met him, not too long ago, but he's becoming a good resource and someone that seeking in, especially when it comes to this LinkedIn space. I'm kind of new to it. Not something that I usually kind of do as far as the networking piece, but I'm learning to do it. So I really appreciate you coming on, man, to really kind of give us some rundown and give these people some free game on how it can help them as well. Welcome, man. Welcome.
Thank you, Adrian. I absolutely appreciate it. This is absolutely awesome to spend some time and have a conversation with you.
And I appreciate you coming on. So we're gonna jump right into it, man. We don't stop. So I'm gonna start off with, give a little bit about your background. As far as your career, can you give us a little summary, of it, how you got to the point of where you are now?
Yeah, so I've always been a sales guy. And I started off very young selling CDs to my friends in high school. So me and my buddies who used to make rap CDs, and then we sell them to our friends. We did two different CDs when I was sophomore in my junior year. And Buddy had a recording studio, not even a recording studio, which is a simple microphone as a headset on a computer. He made beats. I worked at McDonald's at the time, and so I paid for the money to put those on, those recordable CDs. You could just, the burner CDs. So I put the songs on the burner CDs, got some labels, and printed them out on the CDs, and then we just sold those for like $5-10 a piece, and that was kind of where like it really started at. That then led me to going to Indiana State University. Had no clue what I wanted to do professionally, but I always liked video games. So I was like, let me do marketing because I don't want to make video games. I don't like the computer science stuff behind that. But I do like, being in the area and like to sell, like marketing. So waiting for marketing. I do nothing with video games now, but
You don't even play them anymore?
I play avid player, but when it comes to marketing them and those things, no, don't do anything with that. But my senior year, they had us sell advertising spots to the local community for the school newspaper, and that was one of our projects. And my team did the best. We had like 3 or 4 companies advertise in the paper, and so that really kind of led me down this path of getting a degree in marketing, specialization in sales, which you don't get a degree in sales. That's not how you learn sales. You learn sales by doing sales. But after doing that, that's when I kind of knew, like, hey, sales is my thing. Talking to people, convincing them to make a purchase. That was my thing. So after I graduated, I started working at a jewelry company, and it was Jared Jewelry. I was there for 7 years. I learned a little bit. I was terrible for the first 4 years, absolutely awful, to the point that almost too close to getting fired. I love working with people and selling jewelry and engagement rings, but I was terrible at it. I didn't understand how these other people were making sales, and so I went down part-time after like 4 years and worked at a Joseph A. Bank, a clothing store, full-time. So I was working both at the same time, and one day it just clicked. And what I realized is not about the product. I was always selling the product. Hey, this, we're in front of the mall, not in the mall, so you don't have to do all that walking. We do our repairs on site instead of them having to send it off. None of that matters. What mattered is about who is this engagement ring for? What is her name? What is she like? Is she more of a sporty person? Is she more of a classy? Is she more, dressed down, dressed up? That's what sold jewelry, is learning about who is this gift? Who is this ring for? Took me 4 years to learn it. So I learned a little bit there. But after the pandemic hit, I moved down to Florida and I got a job as a sales coach at a postcard company. So now I get to study how sales really works. So I'm listening to other people do it and I'm helping them do better at selling and being able to listen and really look at how sales are done. That really helps me take my game to the next level. I also had a fantastic manager that did not tell me what it should be. She pointed me to material, to content, to reading material that gave me the answers that I was seeking for. And so I really got the chance to learn about effective communication and to learn about how to build confidence in asking for the sale. So that was amazing opportunity because I was there for 2 years.
Okay.
After 2 years, my manager, she left. But before she left, she introduced me to her husband, who is doing virtual assistant services. And he is selling on through LinkedIn. And he was like, there's a lot of people that are on LinkedIn as coaches. You should be a sales coach. You're already a sales coach for this other business. You should be a sales coach. And so after work, I would work my 9 to 5. And then after work, I would meet with people offering sales coaching. And as I met with people, I realized that they didn't need a sales coach because they kept telling me no. They didn't need my coaching because they didn't have leads. So you can't really teach sales if you don't have leads. Mm-hmm. And so that's when we switched up the business. And I was doing a great job of getting leads for myself through LinkedIn. Okay. And so we switched up the business and I started to help other people get a virtual assistant to help them with any task. But we really specialized in lead generation using LinkedIn, which then transition into social media part of LinkedIn. Because I was probably getting about 10 appointments a week from just reaching out to people and asking to meet and have a conversation. And through those conversations, you're going to find people that need your services if they are your target audience. So just simple networking meetings. And once I started to make posts about the people that I had met and put highlight on them and their business, that's when everything just increased. It was like gas on fire. So now I'm starting to get more people willing to meet with me because I have some credibility on LinkedIn. They see the post, they see how active I am. And now I'm getting about 15 to 20 appointments a week. So the social media came in because it's like, okay, this is another thing that's going to help people, but get more appointments, help them get more appointments. But also, if your audience is not active on LinkedIn, they all have profiles. But some audiences, they go to work, they go home, they're not on it every day, but they still get messages, they still receive emails from LinkedIn that, hey, you got, somebody trying to message you. Well, okay, well, use your social media you're not going to be able to get in front of them because they don't meet with you. So you can't you can't introduce the business to them because they're not willing to meet. Okay, well, then send information to them, send content to them in their DMs to slowly, build trust and build credibility and share and plant seeds. And so that's a big part of what we do now when it comes to LinkedIn. It's about just reaching out to your target audience, asking to meet, and then also using that social media to build credibility and get exposure.
Okay. All right. I want to take a little step back because you said something that I kind of want to dig into. You said that, of course, working in sales, you struggled, but eventually it clicked. So yes. What was it that clicked that helped you start to elevate?
The thing that what clicked was that it wasn't about the products. It's not about the product at all. As a salesperson, you are solving, you're saying, hey, you should buy this to solve this problem. This is the product that's going to do it, but you're not focusing on the product. You're focusing on the problem. In jewelry, it's I want to get engaged. I don't have an engagement ring. And when you learn about the person that is intended for, then it makes it's that ability to show that you care about that person who they care for.
Mm-hmm.
That's what builds a connection, and that's what gets people to go, hey, I had a better connection with you. I'd rather buy from you than from somebody else because I like you more than the other person at some other store that tried to sell me. They just tried to push something down my throat that was over my budget. You respected my budget. You asked questions and learned about the person I'm buying this for. This made me feel more comfortable.
That makes a lot of sense, especially, thinking about it, engagement ring, because you gotta foreshadow the sale because you're not necessarily selling to the person right in front of you. You got to sell to the person that it's going to be for. So finding all that information out about that person is what's going to help you get that sale. Okay. And the reason why I say that, I'm sitting here thinking about the process I went through, and that's how it was. It wasn't about me. It was about what this person would like and focusing on that. Okay. Now, go ahead.
It's the same way also for, like, when I was at the postcard company, it was marketing. And so, okay, why do you do this business? Why do you want this business to grow? So there's actually people using direct mailing to grow their business. And you got to ask questions, not about like, hey, this card is this size and we have this type of gloss on it and it's this thick, and none of that doesn't matter. What matters is, what is your business? What do you do? What are you trying to do with it? Who are you trying to reach? Do you know how to reach them? So it's just diving in deep into that thing that person cares about and that's having a problem with, that needs to be solved. And that's what took me 4 years to realize. And I don't know, just one day, it really did just click when I was at the clothing store. At the clothing store, that's when it just clicked. And then eventually I was able to quit that clothing store, go back full time for the jewelry store, and then become a top seller there.
That's very interesting. Now, also, you spoke about supervisor pointing you into the right direction as far as literature to read. How did that process come about? Meaning, did you ask the questions of, hey, I'm struggling, or did she just see you and say, hey, I want to let me help you out here. Let me give you some game. How did that process start?
So that process started because the company that I worked for had courses available to the employees, not just about work-related things, but also about life-related things. And so how it really all started is I would get in trouble at work with HR because I'm trying to help out other people that were having issues or problems that they could not confront. So I was trying to help them confront it, or I was trying to confront it for them, and that would get me in trouble. And it's something it's crazy. I just kept having that issue, that problem. So instead of going like, hey, you shouldn't do this or you should do it this way, no, you need to go to the course room and you need to, learn about this. But those things that I learned in the course room also talked about communication and other aspects of the job. So once I got up there for being in trouble, then I just stayed up there. And then I ran into an issue at work where my reputation was had a big blow taken out of. So, you know, when you look at life, the only thing you really have is your reputation. And once something happens that hurts your reputation, it is really hard to change the opinion of people. And so this big thing happened where I was ready to quit. I was like, I can't keep coming in here. I don't feel comfortable. You know, when you work somewhere and it feels like home, and then it don't feel like home anymore, you go, I don't want to be here anymore. I want to leave. But through that course room, I was able to learn how to gain my reputation back. There is a method, and I did the steps. And from there, I was able to gain my reputation back and started to feel comfortable at being at that place again. But the course room is where it was very helpful to have a designated area to learn. But also what made it effective is having somebody else that can point you into the right direction. With the jewelry job, my manager was absolutely terrible, absolutely awful. But he was my best friend at the time. So we were really good friends, but as a manager, he didn't want to train. He didn't want to, help. He just wanted to do it for you and go, see, this is what it is. You need to be doing it this way. Well, that's and so he just basically watch him do it. We're not really understanding the breakdown of how he did it. And all we have is to mimic what he's doing. And when you do that, you're mimicking all the bad stuff as well. So he doesn't want to train. We don't want to train. He doesn't want to help us get better. And so people feel the same way. They don't want to, hey, I'm just here to collect my check and go home. But that's why it took me so long to learn that nugget in sales, is because I didn't have a great manager. I learned way more in 2 years at the postcard place than the 7 years I was at the jewelry place, because the manager in place.
Now, was he the manager your entire time?
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah. So we opened that store together. So
okay.
He was an assistant at the time, and we had a general manager. After a year, he quit. It kind of got too much for her and her family, so she quit, and he became the general manager. And like I said, he was there until I left. But like I said, he is who he is, and the managers that he had in place were not managers. They were just moved up in ranking because they had the sales, they had the numbers to get moved up into being management, but they weren't managers. So now, like I said, they're following his lead. I'm following his lead in the other managers. Nobody really, they're top sellers, but they're not really helping the people underneath get better. And now you're gonna quit and do something different, or you're just gonna keep showing up, and one day it might hit you.
See, that's the situation with most organizations. A lot of times they promote people based on their technical expertise, right? But they're good at what they do. That doesn't mean they know how to manage people, and people get that mixed up. And so, of course, with what I do, I come in and help with leadership development, programs. But that's that tough thing, man. I think everybody has a story of great person, good at what they do, but on the flip side, they don't know how to lead people into a way to help them develop and become the best that they can possibly be. So that can be a struggle, especially when you're starting off early in your career, dealing with something of that sort. So postcard place, you was able to get good training. good development. Joseph A. Bank as well too. You were able to get good development, good training.
No, to be honest with you, no.
Oh, no. Oh, I thought
Not
you
just
said that was the
not at the
manager
jewel.
that put some
No,
things in you.
So the jewelry place and the clothing store had terrible management for both. It was
okay.
absolutely terrible. But just from working, I was doing basically a sale. I was selling what 8 to 12 hours a day.
Mm-hmm.
If you sell that much, you sell that for that many hours, you're gonna learn. You hopefully learn a little something. But no, both of the places were terrible. Is once I moved to Florida and got at the postcard company. After those two jobs, that's where I got great management.
Okay, so it was kind of one of those things you just learned on the job. You learned the do's and don'ts. No one necessarily taught you, but you just kind of figured your way out, navigated to figure out how can I be better, and what gave you that mindset? Because I mean, you literally could have given up. Most people after a year or two would be like, I'm done with this. I'm not doing this no more. I'm moving on. So what made you stick with it? What made you, continue your development in that space?
For me, it was, I really enjoyed the people. I really enjoyed talking to people and asking questions about is asking questions about who they're buying it for. That was just that always made for a great conversation with somebody you don't know. It's not like it's customer service at a telephone place and you're just fixing issues and problems all day. No, it's happy people that are in love, coming in, and it's just that's a great time. It's not as stressful. The other thing is, you're talking about pieces of jewelry that are $20,000-$30,000 or more, diamonds and rubies and sapphires that are, my biggest customer, she spent $30,000 on a ruby ring and necklace piece with diamonds and everything. So there's no better feeling when when somebody likes you enough or trusts you enough to buy a very expensive piece of jewelry from you. So that was always made me continue to go. And then also, I guess it was a cushy job because if I had to work, okay, but at least there's a TV here on Sundays and I can watch football with my buddy. So I think it's a combination of all those things, but in the midst of that, you learn a little bit of something. So
Okay, nice. I like that. So I asked those questions because I definitely want to give the people that watch the videos a little feel for you and your processes and how you got to where you got to. So now we'll get into the meat and potatoes and why you're on this call. LinkedIn. Let's jump back to LinkedIn. So how important is LinkedIn? And we're going to start from the basics. Somebody that's just starting out their career, right? And it's like, hey, I want to create a LinkedIn profile. How important is creating a LinkedIn profile for someone that's in the corporate space and trying to build themselves, or even in the I have my own business space, right? And trying to build themselves? How important is it?
Well, from the corporate space, if you're trying to get one of these corporate jobs, that is something that the recruiters are going to look at. So having a great profile is what's going to help you stand out from the crowd, but it is still hard because there's so many people that have great profiles. And there's only so much time that the recruiter is going to look at profiles until they find somebody that fits the bill and then hire them. So having a great profile is very helpful when it comes to showing what you have done over the time that your working history. On the business side, having a great profile will help you open the door to speak with your target audience. If you have a, if you have a decent, it doesn't have to be great, but a decent profile picture, a headline that it says exactly how you help them, who do you help, how you help them, and what tools do you use to help them. Making it clear cut on how you help this target audience makes it super easy to help people decide, hey, do I want to talk to this person or not? The about section is going to give you just more detailed on your headline. And then your experience section, how I was taught through another lady, her name is Vindy, and she does LinkedIn courses. From the experience section was really neat because we're not using the experience section to say, hey, I've been operating this business for this amount of time. We use it as a way to go, okay, these are the services that I offer. And as you scroll through my profile, boom, there are the services that I provide. Here's some additional information about each one of these services. And so, having an optimized profile will just open the door to somebody that's willing to have a conversation with you. Now they might be interested, they might not be, but that's advertising. You want to advertise to as many people as you can. That's your target audience, and not everybody's going to be ready. Some people will need you later. Some people will know other people that will need you, but you just need to get in front of them. And LinkedIn gives you the ability to meet the people that will use your services and introduce it in a way that they'll understand it and get it.
Okay. Now, do you have any tips on how to, have your profile stick out? So it makes it to where it's like, this person looks very, very interesting. Let me check them out. Let me see what they have going on.
Yeah. You gotta have a profile. You gotta have a decent profile picture. So you gotta, show your face. Like I said, your about section should say, I help this group of people with this problem by doing these things. So make it simple for the target audience to know what you do. And then also put make a subsection and put that as your background image. Instead of having some picture or some fancy stuff or something with a bunch of words, do a simpler version. Instead of saying I help with, you say helping these people, blah, 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 blah. So do a simpler version and make that as your background image, because that's the first thing people are going to look at when they come to your profile.
Okay.
And then, they offer now a thing called services. So you can add services and skills to your profile now, and you can have other people endorse those services or skills. So it's just like a smaller version of a referral or a what's the word I'm looking for? It's a simpler version of what's it called? A testimonial. Because you're not giving a full testimonial, but somebody endorses your skills. Okay. It's kind of like a testimonial. Okay. So I would say that would be a few tips.
Okay. Now, when it comes to, because one of my keys to your development is definitely networking. So we would be doing ourselves a disservice if we didn't talk about networking, right? Do you have any tips or best practices on networking, on LinkedIn? Of course, we know people just, hey, I'm just going to message you. But are there any tips that you see that from experience that people should use when it comes to networking on LinkedIn?
So I would say the first thing is, in your messaging, when you're sending messages to people, do not talk about your business. They're going to look at your profile. So you don't need to talk about your business. if you're wanting to network with your target audience, simply just ask to network with them. And so the message I use is, hey, are you open into networking? I would like to grow my network, get to learn more about somebody else, share that information with my network. My hope is that we can help each other in some type of way by sharing resources, information, or referrals. Can we set up a time to chat? That's all that needs to be said, because they're either going to be willing to meet or they're not. And if they are willing to meet, then they'll look at your profile and get understanding of what you do. So there's a lot of people, and I know everybody finds this annoying on LinkedIn, is when you get those messages, people trying to solicit their services. And what I believe it really is that people would try that for a couple of months and realize it doesn't work, and then they'll switch it up and do something different.
Okay.
But the problem is you keep getting new people that start at the beginning of the line. So that's why we never can get rid of it, because there's new people always giving it a shot and see if it works. But it doesn't. People, they see anything about what you do, they're going to completely just stop reading and move on. So never talk about your business in your first message to people.
So I know when people when you send me a page long message, I don't read it. You know what I mean? Yeah. I'm not about to read all of that. Yeah. I personally feel, and I'm not the expert, so you can chime in on this part. A paragraph is all that's needed for an introduction. Anything outside of that is just overkill. And most people, you're gonna lose people because it's like, like them? No.
Yeah, I agree. I agree. A paragraph is that's really all needed.
Okay. Yeah, I get them all the time. And you click on the message and it's a page long, and you're like,
no,
I'm
not doing this.
No.
I've been very blessed. I've been very blessed that I have I have a virtual assistant, so I don't I don't ever see my thank God. The second thing is that people don't like to be taken off of LinkedIn. I've noticed that. So when somebody's willing to meet, you can't send them a Calendly link. Hey, you can set something up with my Calendly link. They don't like to be taken off of LinkedIn. So what you have to do is, when somebody's willing to meet, give them time that you're available to meet. Let them pick. Once they pick, ask for their email and phone number, and then once you get the email and phone number, book it in your Calendly, so that way they'll get the reminders and they'll get the Zoom link and all that. But it's the same thing with email. It's hard to get somebody to leave LinkedIn and start receiving emails from you. It is hard to get them to do that. So I like to do everything in LinkedIn. That's something and it's been working way better for me than trying to get them to move off of LinkedIn. So my messaging, my setting up appointments, everything that I send, I do it all through LinkedIn, because that is how people want to be interacted with, and they don't want to leave LinkedIn to do that.
Well, I can speak for myself. Personally, I don't, necessarily like it unless I know the person, because I don't want to be added to some database that's going to sell that database and sell that database. And now I have a whole bunch of emails, coming that I don't even want. Right.
Yeah.
So for me, that's why I like to stay in LinkedIn until we develop a relationship. Then we can take it. Then I don't mind giving you my number. I don't mind giving you, my email address, because we made the connection. It's genuine now.
Yes.
So that's my spiel. That's why I don't. So when people say, hey, give me your email, and the first message, like, well, I don't even know. First off, I don't know what you selling or what you're soliciting. I don't know anything. And the first thing you want is my email. No, you're not adding me to no database. So
No, I think it's even longer than that. Like even after I meet with people, trying to continue the communication through email, I've just noticed that it's higher when I send that same message through LinkedIn messaging than through email. So in my opinion, I really do feel that LinkedIn messaging is a great replacement for email.
okay. So LinkedIn messaging you feel is a great replacement for business emails to help you. Okay.
Yeah.
I like that.
Yeah.
Oh man, I guess I hadn't thought about it. See, you just giving me a lot to really think about. So what are some things that you suggest for someone that's trying to get into what you're doing? Any literature? Because what happened for you in your sales, I'm going to ask of you in the same manner. Is there any literature someone can read, articles, anything that they can look up to, kind of get into this space and help them develop?
Do you mean the LinkedIn space of using it for business growth, or do you mean
Yes,
like the virtual
LinkedIn space.
assistant? Okay,
Yes.
LinkedIn space. Okay. There's so much. There's a lot of information out there already. You know what? To be totally honest with you, there's really not a there's not really like I know the lady for me, her name is Vindy. She does a lot of, I can't remember her last name, but if you do LinkedIn Vindy on YouTube, you will see a bunch of different LinkedIn videos that she has created.
Okay.
I would say that for sure is a great place to get information about LinkedIn. 100%. I've taken her course, and that's a great place to get material to learn about it. I also think it's a lot of it is trial and error. A lot of I've talked to a lot of people. Is through LinkedIn. I've met over 1,000 people in the 2 years that I've been doing this.
Okay.
And I've gotten little tips and little helpers from a lot of different people, and I've tried them. And some things work, some things don't. And so I think it's as you stumble across different things, try them out, and then record the stats, and then make a formed decision knowing if this is working for you or not. But so I would say, continue to, do those searches, do the search for search in mails, search sales navigator, search connection request, search messaging, the direct messaging in LinkedIn. Search those keywords in the LinkedIn search, and there's going to be some great information in there. And it's just all about trying it and then recording it and seeing if you should continue.
Okay. Now, do you record this freehand, or did you have some software that you use?
Freehand.
Okay.
Yeah,
Just
freehand.
checking.
Yeah.
Straight
So
Excel?
Excel, and I use a software called Google Looker Studio. It basically takes the stat. It basically you can put in stats and take it to the software, and it will spit out, your response rate. So like with LinkedIn lead generation, right? I record how many messages we send out, how many people respond, good or bad, and then how many people respond positive. From there, I can put that information into Google Looker Studio, and it'll let me know what is that response rate, what is that positive response rate, and it'll help me just spit out the statistics. Before, when I put it all into Excel sheet, well, as new data comes in, then you have to then copy and paste and copy and paste and copy and paste. But with Looker Studio, I don't have to do none of that copy and pasting. It just boom, it just spits out the information for me. Because that's really going to, you need to know if it's working or not. You need to know if there's a hiccup in the process. So the average response rate to a first message on LinkedIn is anywhere from about 15 to 25%. That's like the average. If you're under that, then that means your message needs to change because people are not responding. I'm okay if they're responding poorly to it, then okay, at least they're seeing it, at least they're responding, and then I'll have to fix that. But if they're not responding at all to your message, then you need a whole new message, or you need to optimize your LinkedIn profile better. There's something else that's causing them to not respond at all. So that's where keeping track of the data is very important.
Okay. Nice. I like that. Man, that's a lot. So we definitely took them through the whole entire process of where you started and where you are now. I really appreciate you definitely taking out the time to talk to me. Now I want to give you the opportunity to tell people, where they can find you, how they can get your services, all those great things.
Yes. So my services that I offer, the biggest thing that we offer is virtual assistant services. So we find the best people from the Philippines that are well educated, speak great English, and we make those people available to do different tasks for solopreneurs is our main audience. And so we have people that do graphic design, copywriting, web design. They book speaking events in public and podcasting events. They can do executive assistant work, cold calling, accounting services. There's all different types of things. One of the main things that we do focus on is LinkedIn lead generation. So, this process is long and it takes a lot of messaging and, it takes a lot of time. And so we have virtual assistants that do that for people. Social media is a big component that can really help grow credibility and exposure. And so we have people that do that as well. So if there's any tasks that can be offloaded to somebody else, that's what we help, help them get that virtual assistant, a real person. It's a real person from the Philippines that will help them complete those tasks. And the best place to find me is on LinkedIn. Frederick Majors is my name. I'll pull up very easy because there's not too many Fredericks out there. But that is the best place, or you can reach me at fred@maximizersalescoaching.com. That's my email. My other one is fred@stampedebranding.com. So those two emails.
Okay, I'll make sure to link those when this goes live. And I really appreciate you taking out the time to do this for me, man. I owe you one.
Thank you, Adrian, for having me.
No problem. Great conversation. I hope you guys were able to get something out of it. The YouTube page, GCounsel. If you need anything from me, of course, coaching, ask@gentlemanscounsel.com, website www.gentlemanscounsel.com. And until next time, peace and blessings.